Good morning. My name is Derek Peterson. Now, when you think about retirement, what do you see? Do you see yourself traveling the world with your significant other, going to all the places that you've always dreamed of? Do you see yourself being outrageously generous with your money, donating to your church, your favorite nonprofit, your favorite charity? Or do you see yourself sitting at a kitchen table at the end of each month, wondering how you're going to make ends meet without income from work? Well, all three of these scenarios are all possibilities, and which scenario best describes you in your retirement is entirely up to you. Now, I'm a personal financial planning major here at UVU, and nearly every class I take is focused on retirement, how to get to retirement, different strategies that we can implement to successfully get a client to retirement. Within the last year, I opened up my own retirement accounts and have been preparing for my own retirement 40 to 45 years down the road. Now, over the last 30 to 40 years, what we've seen is a massive generational shift in how retirement is funded. It used to be the case that you would join the workforce straight out of high school, and many of the companies offer what's called a defined benefit plan, otherwise known as a pension. Now, this pension would pay a percentage of your annual income from the day that you retire until the day that you pass away. Well, as you can see from this chart, pensions are and have been in significant decline for the last several decades. What's become much more popular is what's called the defined contribution plan. So think your 401k, your 403b, where you are responsible for contributing to your own retirement, and many employers will offer a percent match or a dollar match to help you achieve that goal. Now, what about Social Security? We all pay into Social Security through taxes, with the idea being that when we retire, we'll be able to start taking out benefits, and that'll provide some sort of security in retirement. You'll have some form of income. Well, there are serious questions about the sustainability of Social Security. The Congressional Budget Office projects that by 2035, Social Security will be insolvent. So lawmakers at that point will have three options to be sure that the program is going to be around for the time that we retire. They're going to have to reduce benefits, they're going to have to raise the retirement age, or they're going to have to raise Social Security taxes. And in all likelihood, it's going to be a combination of the three. We've seen a massive generational shift in terms of the burden. It used to be that the government, your employer, would fund your retirement, but now it's entirely up to you. Prepare for retirement. How can you prepare for retirement? Identify goals. Now, as has been previously mentioned, there was an interesting study done by Harvard Business School in 2016 that looked at goals and the importance of goal setting. And what they found is 83% of those surveyed did not have any established goals. They were just living day to day with no destination in sight. They found that 14% of people had a goal. It wasn't written down. They just had it in their mind, but at least they had a destination they were working towards. They found that only 3% of people had written goals that they had a plan for, that they were actively working to achieve. Now, retirement is going to be different for each and every one of us in this room. Some of us want to be able to donate a lot of money. Some of us want to be able to travel the world. Some of us might even want to donate or to leave an inheritance to our children, to our grandchildren, all of which are worthwhile causes, but to be able to achieve any of those goals, you have to first identify them. Now, what's another way that you can prepare for retirement? Create a budget. Edmund Burke had this great quote. He said, "If we command our wealth, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth commands us, we are poor indeed." When you think about budgeting, it can be scary, it can be intimidating. 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Many of them don't have budgets that they live on. But luckily, it's very simple and very easy to create a budget. So first, what you're going to want to do, this is going to be on a monthly basis, you're going to list your incomes. You're going to do your gross income, so before your taxes, before anything comes out of your paycheck, just list your gross income. Once you do that, now it's time to start dealing with the expenses. There are going to be two different categories in which we sort our expenses. First is going to be non-discretionary. So your non-discretionary expenses are all the things that you don't have a choice in paying for. Think your mortgage payment, your student loan payment, your auto loan payment, tax. I wish we didn't have to pay tax, but unfortunately that's the reality that we live in. So you're going to go ahead and list all these, and then you're going to come up with the total. Now we're going to deal with discretionary expenses. So these are the things that you spend money on, but you have a little bit more flexibility in how much you're spending. So think eating out. How much am I spending on entertainment? And just like your non-discretionary expenses, you're also going to total these and get a sum here. Once you've done that, now you're going to add your total non-discretionary and your total discretionary expenses, and you're going to take that amount and you're going to subtract it from your total income. Once you do that, you're now at the end of the month, you either have a surplus or a deficit. If you have a surplus, you're spending less than you make, which is good. If you have a deficit, you are spending more than you make, and you need to make adjustments to your budget. What is the most important way you can prepare for retirement? Invest. Now that we've established what our goals are, we've tracked our monthly cash flow, we know how much we're bringing in, how much is going out, now it's time to invest. Robert G. Allen is a well-known financial advisor, and he said, how many millionaires do you know who became wealthy by investing in savings accounts? I rest my case. Now the average saving account earns 0.09% interest, and this is on an annual basis. So over 1 year, you're earning less than 0.1% if you just leave your money in a standard savings account. Now you compare that to the S&P 500, which is an index of the stock market that tracks the 500 largest publicly traded companies. It's generally a pretty good indicator of how the market is doing as a whole. The average return of the S&P 500 is 9.8%. And this year, the market is doing outstanding. It's up 22% despite a lot of the volatility we've seen in these last couple months. So let's say starting at age 25 until age 65, so for 40 years, you were able to save $100 a month. Now if you save this $100 a month in a standard savings account, earning 0.09% interest, in 40 years, you're gonna have $48,000. Now let's compare that if you invest that in the market. That same $100 invested in the S&P 500, earning that average return of 9.8%. In 40 years, you have $595,000. Now let's say you look at your budget, you tighten things up a little bit, now you have $300 to invest per month instead of $100. $300 a month in your standard savings account, earning that average interest rate. In 40 years, you're gonna have $146,000. Now one thing I do wanna note, if you look at the line, you can see it's fairly linear. The only gain you're getting is the contributions that you're putting in each month. Now $300 invested in S&P 500, earning the historical average rate of return, you have $1.78 million at the end of 40 years. You look at this line, it is far more exponential. You're not only getting capital gains, you're earning compound interest, and you're letting your money work for you. You often hear people say, I can't afford to invest, I don't have time to invest. The truth is, you can't afford to not be investing. So let's review. How can you prepare for retirement? Identify goals, create a budget, invest. Prepare for retirement.